Awesome. So first of all, congratulations on Regarding Us. It is such an amazing watch. Such an impactful movie. Your character in particular is quite harsh.
Yeah.
She's a very strange character to me, but what was it like to embody a character like her?
So I tried to approach her with grace and understanding. I'm from the South. I grew up in a Baptist background. So I knew that woman.
Mhm,
I knew her very well. She was, my Sunday school teacher and, my neighbor,
mhm,
my friend's mom. So I drew from my own personal background, and just tried to understand that we're all products of our environment. And she grew up with certain feelings and structures in place, and that's how she felt the world worked. And her worldview had never been expanded.
mhm,
And then she, moves to New York and has this awakening that there's an entire world beyond,
mhm,
the four walls she's lived in. And she goes on quite a remarkable journey. I don't think the completion of her journey is tied up with like a nice pretty bow, but I think she makes some very stark, like heart-opening things and goes,
mhm.
listen, this is my child. And maybe I'm wrong. And I think, just that alone can open the door to dialogue. It was, I mean, of course, like me being a very, um, what I consider open-minded, inclusive person. I want everybody to have a seat at the table, and I think everyone's uh, life has value inherently. And I'm so interested in everyone's stories. So it was hard for me to play someone who can be perceived as so closed, but it was also, exciting
Mhm.
because I could let go a little bit and see what that was like to perhaps, step into the shoes of someone who doesn't see the world as a bright and wonderful and curious place like I do.
Definitely. And it must have been difficult to play this character because yes, there is that southern religious background to it, but she also reveals that there's a lot more going on in this character's life. What were the obstacles in getting into that mindset? The family issues, the relationship with her husband that's not really there.
I was
Uh,
just about to say what relationship. I mean, it's sad. He clearly, they moved because of his job, and whatever community she did have
mhm,
was left behind in Alabama, and she's stuck, trying desperately to grasp at straws and thinks she finds a friend in Veronica, and then realizes, no, I'm not comfortable with this person being around my children. So it was difficult. I mean, Hudson Paul, who played my son, broke my heart in every scene. I mean, it was not difficult to have those emotional moments because he was just right there
mhm,
with me. He was very emotionally open, and I really appreciated that. Um, I just thought he brought so much depth and love to as a child, to that character. So it was like a weird, as an actor, it was of course fun to chew on something like that. But as a person, I'm like, God, do I really want to play this character? What if
mhm.
people think that that's how I feel about things? But again, I realized that it more is a conversation starter than anything else. And I think right now where we are, in our country in particular, we just need to be having more conversations. I think they're really important.
Definitely. And your supporting cast, the everybody around you is so talented. There's such diversity in this film. What was it like having such a cast?
I mean, the first day that I walked on set, I had literally the day before gotten home from filming another project in Savannah. And I went straight from that to this. That was like a Lifetime movie, totally different vibe. And then this was like a pure, real indie film.
Mhm,
And walking on and meeting Alexandra Grey, just the magic that that woman exudes, and her open heart and
Hmm.
her um, she gave so much of herself in this role, and I learned a lot about the transgender community just by like within 10 minutes, it was like we'd known each other for a decade. Like she's just so warm and lovely and talented. Like the pipes on that woman, I don't know if you've heard her
Hmm.
sing. Good Lord. Beautiful voice, beautiful soul. Um, Eliud was also remarkably lovely in
Hmm.
person. David Beck, of course, our director, as well as being in the film, just one of my favorite humans that I met this year, and just a good person,
Hmm.
somebody who wants the best for everyone, someone who is open to, as an actor himself. I always think directors who are also actors just bring such a unique perspective because they have done both,
Hmm.
in front of and behind the camera. And this story is so personal to David too. So it was just lovely walking on set and being like, wow, this is the kind of work that I want to be doing, is work that matters, work that clearly
Hmm.
encompasses this whole tapestry of humanity. You've got, I mean, our crew was just as diverse as our cast, which was
Hmm.
super cool. So it was great.
That's awesome. And having this project debut at Dances with Films Hollywood, which is at the TCL Chinese Theater, how did that feel?
I mean, that was so much fun. I was there the year prior with another film, Daruma, which
Mhm.
I forgot to change my background. So, hello, me as a brunette. Um, and it's such an iconic space. Like even walking up the steps that look like
Hmm.
piano keys, and then just walking outside to that legendary, front
Hmm.
facade of the building. I'm not from LA, and I have not spent a lot of time there, so I always kind of feel like a fish out of water when I go there. But the Dances with Film staff was also so receptive of our project, and it just kind of felt like maybe a new home, not coming home, but like a place that I could eventually feel more myself in.
Definitely. And you have such a great resume of characters you've played. Is there any projects that you have coming up that you can talk about?
Gosh, I have, nothing that is signed, where I've like inked a deal, but there's a lot of projects that are in the pipeline, indie films. I feel like each one that gets made is a little miracle. It's so hard to get content made,
Hmm.
and it's really quiet right now. But I'm hoping that funding comes through for a lot of these that I'm excited about. They're all very, very different. I have one that's like a thriller. I have another that's like a dystopian, all women um, leading a government. I mean, they're all over the place, which of course to me is my favorite
Hmm.
type of thing, to just not get pigeonholed and get stuck and just see what I can do and play. I do this because I want to play and tell stories. So I'm kind of just like waiting.
Hmm.
I'm like hovering above the green light and just hoping I get to
Hmm.
push it and go. I just want to work. I want to keep working. I I've told a couple of other outlets that I'm working on my novel, my first novel, which is set in Victorian London. Um, I think it's going to be a while, and I hate saying that, but I think it's going to be a while before it's done, just because I am the mother of
Hmm.
two young kids, and this time of year especially, it's about them as it should be. And I also have a December baby, so not only is it holiday time, but it's also its birthday. So we're just like, I'm, constantly chugging coffee. So
Hmm.
that's a that's a thing for me.
Hmm.
But
Definitely. Well, congratulations on this project. And best of luck on your novel. It sounds awesome, to be honest. So, thank you very much for your time.
of course, thank you for your time. This was fun.